Hi, Assalamu alaikum. Here is your English teacher Noor Uzma with a new topic that is literary terms. Well, literary terms are those techniques that we should know before reading any piece of literature. Shall we start? Are you ready? Let's begin. The very first word that you should know is the word Genre. How would you pronounce it? January? January? Or genre? No, not at all. It's a French word and it will be pronounced like genre. How? Genre. Say it. Genre. Yes, what is it? Let's see. Let me tell you what the genre is. This means that there are many different kinds or categories, types, or forms of literature, each with their own unique tone and style. For example, when you want to read a story or a novel, how do you decide which story do you want to read? It might depend on what kind of mood you are in. If you are in the mood to be scared, you might want to read a scary novel. If you are in the mood to laugh, you might want to read a comedy. Scary stories and comedies are just a couple of examples of the many different genres of novel. So in a simple way, genre is a type of story, is the category of the story. If someone say, which type of stories do you read? We can also say, which genre do you read? Got it? Great. Let me tell you a few type of genres. I'm not going to cover all because at the beginning level, you just need to know the basic genres. Okay, we will either read fiction or non-fiction. What are they? We will discuss later. We can read folk tales, dramas, and poetries. Let us discuss a bit about the difference between fiction and non-fiction. Rest of three genres like folk tales, drama, and poetry we will discuss some other time. The difference between fiction and non-fiction is, let me tell you, that many books and stories are fiction. It means that they are not factual. They are self-built. They are man-made. Fiction books are made up stories that are often produced by the author's imagination. It's not real at all. There are many different genres that fall within the genre of fiction. Shall I tell you some of them? But before that, let me tell you, non-fiction, what is a non-fiction thing? Non-fiction genre are the narration based on real facts. Like you have heard news, they are totally based on facts, autobiographies, or news articles, or something kind of documentary. These are all the kinds of non-fiction genres. They are real, they are not man-made, rather it is the true depiction of the actual situation. But so far as fiction is concerned, it is self-made by the author via using his own creation and imagination. Let me tell you a bit more about fiction. Fiction is a story based on imagination of the author. I have already told you. Second thing that is more important is that it is written to entertain the reader. If it is false or imaginary or not based on reality, what is the use of writing fiction? Here is the answer, that it is written to entertain the reader. Because the things that we cannot do in real life, when we just see are being happened, we feel satisfied and happy from inside. Don't we? And let me tell you about the characterization. That the characters and the settings and the dialogues The problem, conflict, climax, and situations and solution. These are all included in fiction, but these are all imaginary, self-made. Here are some kinds of fiction that you should know, though there are many, but let me cover only these things. Fantasy fiction, fairy tales fiction, mystery fiction, horror fiction, science fiction, and there are many more. Today we are going to focus on only fantasy. What is fantasy? The next slide is just disclosing the fact. What is it actually? Let me tell you a little bit more about fantasy. Can you see a weird creature? Is it dragon or a dragon? It depends upon the writer's mind. It is a story that including elements that are impossible, such as talking animals or magical powers, magic users, those are wizards, royalty, like princess and princess, unreal creatures like dragon, hero and heroine, and we can find quests to overcome the obstacles. We can also see the enchanted places like castles, forests, medieval times, and good versus evil, honorable qualities, friendship, and successive volumes. Yes. I would repeat that fantasy is a genre of fiction where impossible things are made possible. And even we can guess that which type of story we are going to read by reading its title. The choice of the words that the writer has used in making the title would definitely lead us to know that which genre we are going to read. Okay, can you guess the genres of the following novels from the reading the titles? Look at the first novel's name, like James and the Giant Peach. Which genre you are going to read? I can read your mind. You are saying fantasy. How come? How come you know that it is going to be fantasy? Just because there is a word giant peach. It is not real. In reality, it is not possible that we should have a giant peach. Giant means very huge, enormous, very big. So peach is almost its size of a little ball or a kind of apple. But over here, if some peach is going to be a giant sized, it means that we are going to read what? Fantasy. Look at the second. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Do we have ever chocolate factory ever in life? Yes, chocolate making factories are there, but a factory that is totally made of chocolates. Not real, hence fantasy. And rest of the four titles you have to read yourself and ask yourself which genre do they belong to. Here I end up my first part of literary terms by saying that don't wish it were easier. Wish you were better. Thank you very much. Allah Hafiz. Wait for the second part too.